Talk about news you can use. Here on Primetime, we're hooking you up, helping you find a job. And not only that, we're going to help you climb the ladder. UT Director of Human Resources, Cory is here now to tell us what you should not do at work because it makes you look like an amateur, but I don't even know where he is. Anybody see Cory? Oh, there you are. What the heck?
I'm sorry. I'm just, what are we talking about? I'm not even remotely ready. Oh,
what?
God.
What is going on here? You were supposed to be here 10 minutes early to be prepared.
This is just
okay. You made a mess. Let's get on with it. We got to show.
Embarrassing.
Sorry, viewers. Sorry. I apologize. Normally.
Do you know?
Normally my guests are a little more organized.
Sorry, my secretary told me we were on later, and I'm just.
You're blaming your secretary? You have a TV downstairs. You know. You have a clock.
Why are you being so hard on me?
I'm just keeping you accountable.
You have any idea how hard it is to do my job, come up here and do these segments with you?
Are you seriously getting emotional? Man up, Cory. Jeez.
I'm sorry.
Jeez Louise.
How'd
I'm
that
all
work?
wet.
Did we get an award for that?
Bam!
Right. Well, look.
That's what you don't do, folks.
There are so many things that kind of make you feel like an amateur at work. And first is you're late. You know,
I had to get wet for that skit. Lovely.
Yeah. Number one, if you're late, right? If you're late, for me, that's just it.
There's no excuse good enough. It doesn't matter if there's a traffic jam. It doesn't matter if you're barfing. It doesn't matter. Try not to be late because first impressions are everything.
Well, it's, if you're at work and you're late for meetings and you're constantly late for meetings, all you're doing is telling people you're not important enough. I've got something else that's going on.
That's true.
And really, I mean, it immediately sets a bad tone for any time you're in a professional environment. So, be on time. We've got Outlook. We've all got phones. We know what time meetings are. We get alerts whenever they're coming up. So, be on time for meeting. It's an automatic, hey, he's always on time. I remember my first professional job, my grandmother always taught me 15 minutes early whenever you're supposed to be anywhere, right?
Because it allows that for that cushion time.
Sure, just in case. So I get to my 2 o'clock meeting at 1:45. I literally was the only one there until 2:05. And, I was like, yeah, 2 o'clock meeting. Why are you here so early? I thought 15 minutes early. So. Be there early. I mean, that's just common sense.
Yeah, but don't, if you're going to a party, don't go too early because that's annoying when people show up early.
We're talking about work. We're talking about work.
Yeah, at work, if you're not ready for them, you can always say, just wait for me till I'm ready, right?
Well, if you're you want to be ready. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Right. And so get there on time. Be ready for the meetings. I mean, a lot of times people come in and they just don't know what we're talking about, and they don't have their papers organized, and they just don't have. So what I normally suggest to people
they've got food on their
they've got food on your face. Yeah. If you have a meeting at 2, stop what you're doing at 1:45. Get your head together. Start thinking about what you're going to talk about in that meeting and how you're going to, add value to that meeting. Otherwise, you're just sitting there and you're not talking and you're just a body in a meeting.
Collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to be organized as well. I mean, I come in here and most of these were your papers, just for the record.
Yeah, you took my scripts.
I came in with one. But I'll tell you, nothing looks kind of more unprofessional than walking into somebody's office and seeing just papers all over the desk. Now, I'm totally guilty.
Yeah,
I'm totally guilty.
Papers sometimes.
Mine
you look
is
over here?
everywhere. But it should, it should be in a fashion that you can easily, someone's coming in.
It's got to be your organizational piles that.
But at least then, if somebody's coming in, you can put it together real quick and now make it look nice. So we want to be always aware of what you're exuding. What image you're showing everybody. Absolutely. And a lot of times what people will do, right? I blame they play the blame game. And especially early in a company, or early in your career at a company, if you start, hey, he's the guy who always will blame somebody else. He was late, he blamed his secretary, numbers were wrong, he blamed his staff. So you don't want to, there's always a certain amount of time when you can explain who is to blame, but also take some of the responsibility yourself. Especially if you're in a management type position, that some of those numbers might have come from somebody else, but ultimately the buck stops with you.
That's right, and be accountable. Then you can deal with those people later, but you say,
you got it. And ultimately you're responsible for the one who's dealing with these numbers. And then finally I have on my list is when employees are emotional. I mean,
do you get that a lot?
Sure. I mean, people will cry in an office if they're upset about what's going on, or if they, for whatever reason.
Is it more female related? Let's be honest.
No, not at all. I mean, I'll get, and it doesn't have to be a
Come
cry.
on, are you insane?
Well, you haven't been in my office yet, so once you come in, I'm sure you'll up that side a little more.
I'm going to come cry to you.
You know, people come in and you have to act professional, and it doesn't have to be tears. It can just be talking to a certain way when your boss is in the room because you think this is an opportunity to air out frustrations just because you're in HR or because you're in your boss's meetings. Boss is still your boss, and you should always make sure you kind of treat them in a professional manner and keep your emotions in check. Sometimes what I'll recommend when folks come in to talk to me about it, it's like, all right, are we in the territory where I'm just venting? If you just want to vent to somebody, that's okay, but make sure to couch it into, I'm just going to vent for a second. I know there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to be a little emotional, but I just need to vent. Vent, get it done, clean the slate, and then go on being professional.
You must have a lot of boxes of Kleenexes in your office.
I do. I have to keep them right there.
Note to self, I've never been there.
Note to self, lots of boxes of Kleenexes.
No, good. You need to bring them up to the studio so I can use them every time you spill something on me.
I'll come out and clean up afterwards.
That's good advice, Cory. It really is. And I love the be early thing because I don't know about everybody out there, but for me, if I have to be somewhere on time, like at a certain time, I can bet everything I own that something's going to go wrong, some uncontrollable thing. It always does.
Traffic.
Yeah.
Car breaks down. Whatever it might be, as an employee, as an HR person, we've heard it all.
Yeah.
And if it happens one time, people kind of get it, but when you start to get into habit of every time, Cory's the one who's always late for the meetings, he's always late for work, he's 5 minutes late for work. If work starts at 8 and you're always showing up at 8:05, we frequently get, well, it's not a big deal, it's 5 minutes. You're right, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Show up 5 minutes earlier.
Good idea. Now I just got yelled at from my producer that I'm late for my next story.
You're late.
Thank you,
You got
Cory.
it.